Hello everyone, and welcome back to my first time reading Bleach. After defeating all kinds of Arancars and the top 3 Espada all falling in battle, things seem to be looking up for the Soul Reapers defending Karakura Town. There are only a few enemies left, but the remaining opponents are the ones they probably have to worry about most, especially one in particular. Yes, Aizen is finally, truly on the battlefield. It's easy to feel the tension his presence alone provides because we know what he's done to all of these people. We know about his long history of manipulation and treachery, and no one has felt the sting of Aizen's plotting more than the Visored. As we've discussed, they had their whole lives uprooted because of Aizen, and now face him, but I liked the trepidation. They didn't all go charging in without thinking. They understand just how dangerous he is, and so does Aizen himself. There was something so chilling about his certainty that they would lose against him no matter what they did. It sounds like arrogant bluster, and maybe it would be from anyone else, but from Aizen, it instead just sounds like certainty and absolute. It's really intimidating stuff, and as usual, Aizen is able to be scary without trying. And just the way that he talks to them after what he did, saying that the Visored all died that night 100 years ago, when he completely uprooted their lives and experimented on them. They've never been the same people since, so from Aizen's perspective, they might as well not even be there. They're just ghosts from a long time ago. Serious shivers. And it's all an attempt to taunt the Visored, again highlighting Aizen's power of making people behave how he wants them to. Always the manipulator. And unfortunately, it works on Hiyori, who charges in blindly. But things only get worse as Gin suddenly cuts Hiyori in half, which was crazy and sudden, and Gin has been very low-key during the battle so far, just commenting now and again and always smiling about what he's seeing as usual, just generally being a bit of a creep, like always. And he's actually been very low-key throughout all of this, throughout the whole arc. Maybe it was just Kubo pushing hard to make him seem extra villainous in the Soul Society arc so that he could be a good red herring, which worked, but he really has taken a back seat. But maybe not for much longer after he did this. And naturally, he did this with a smile on his face. I'm gonna need someone to knock that smirk off at some point, but I'm curious if he's going to bring anything crazy to the coming fights. Shinji, holding the top half of Hiyori, is desperate for someone to help them. I've always enjoyed their back and forth because you could always tell there's a real genuine affection between him and Hiyori beneath all of their animosity, and to see him really caring about her and worried about her was very sweet and shows, what the relationship really is. And he knows that Orihime could potentially save her, so naturally is wondering when Ichigo is going to get there. And I've been wondering the same thing. It's funny, with all of the incredible action and mounting drama, the Espada reveals, and the Visored showing up, and everything in between, as this battle rages between so many characters, it's sometimes easy to forget that our main character is nowhere to be found, still trapped in a completely separate dimension. Yet Ichigo is still in Hueco Mundo, coming back down from where he fought Ukiura in that incredible smackdown, but things aren't looking great down below. Yes, Yammy, who you all know I love him so much, and his twist was one of the most brilliant written twists in all of fiction. Yammy apparently beat Chad, Renji, and Rukia off screen, only for Ichigo to come back down from the canopy to absolutely wreck him. It's satisfying in a way, or maybe I just like seeing Yammy get beat up after that plot twist, but all of this unfortunately feels like an afterthought. Yammy, despite being number 0, feels like a leftover when the story has, at this point, naturally moved on. We had our big satisfying fights with the Espada, and this guy is still just messing around. Yammy keeps trying to beat Ichigo, still going off about how he's number 0 and the strongest Espada. He trash talks his dead comrades, saying he's more powerful, and it's all just very annoying, and I don't buy into any of it. It just doesn't feel that important. And yes, he shows some great strength here sometimes, but this all feels like it should have been dealt with already. But the only positive I can really say about this is I like seeing Ichigo's continued resolve. He continues to show why he's such an easy character to root for, even when he's up against a character that feels like he should have been beaten by Chad 50 chapters ago. Instead, Yammy's just hanging around as an uninteresting obstacle, and I do like how Kubo depicts his sheer size and scale in some panels, but most everything else with him just continues to annoy me, unfortunately. But at least my guy Kenny is here to fight him, and he's got Byakuya with him too. So there's that, I guess. That's fun. But it's like Kubo looked into the future and heard me talk trash about Yammy, so was like, will you feel better if Kenpachi is here to beat him? And I'm like, yeah, actually, maybe I will feel a little bit better. I don't really, but I do love seeing my bloodthirsty boy enjoying himself while unleashing some violence. I also liked how he treated Ichigo when they reunited. Their relationship is always hilarious, but I still need a rematch someday. At some point before the end of Bleach, I need Kenny and Ichigo to have a rematch. That's all I'm asking for. That's all I want. Alright? Okay, moving on. But as much as I enjoy watching Kenpachi humiliate his opponents, I'd prefer Yammy go down as quickly as possible so this whole Espada Zero business can be over. It feels like he's only here to give Kenpachi and Byakuya someone else to fight, where I think it'd be way more interesting to see them journey back to the living world for that battle. I want Ichigo and Kenpachi and Byakuya, they should all be over there at this point, or on their way. Not stuck here fighting Yammy. Who cares? It's just, that's the problem, is there's not enough stakes over here anymore. That's why it feels like an afterthought. Yammy's just here being annoying. There's nothing really going on. Now, he beat up a couple people, but I'd never feel like they're gonna die because it's Yammy, you know what I'm saying? Ugh. Yammy transforms again when he gets angry, but again, I don't really care. It's not an interesting evolution, really, and there's really nothing that engaging about the fight besides Kenpachi being there. I just need Yammy gone. We've moved on, Yammy. I'm sorry. We've moved on. Sorry. Outside of Yammy, I liked having a moment to breathe after all of the battles that have been happening. It gave us readers a chance to get our bearings back before the final stages against Aizen and the rest of the traders. For instance, I liked that we took a moment to point out how Ichigo's hollow mask continues to be mysterious even now, as the marks have changed to resemble what he looked like when he was hollified. Ichigo comments that the mask even felt different, heavier somehow, and it doesn't come out when he tries to use it a few minutes later. Something is definitely up, and the mask continues to be a great running mystery through the series. I assume that what he unleashed by accident during the fight with Ukiura is leaving something residual behind, or maybe it unlocked a new part of his hollow side. I don't know, but I love that the hollow mask is such a great tool for stirring up questions for me as a reader. And there's also how Rukia notices that Ichigo is different than when he went up the canopy. The battle with Ukiura changed him more than it seemed, not only from his mask design, but she could see that just from looking in his eyes. Maybe it has to do with all of the internal turmoil he had from transforming like that when he died, or maybe he sees things a bit differently after witnessing the end of Ukiura's life. It's hard to say what it is exactly because he went through so much up there, but I love that that fight has had some real consequences for Ichigo as a character. So Mayuri arrives, and the mad genius has found a way to send Ichigo back to the living world, thanks to how he raided Xyloporo's lab. But he also apparently got some more valuable things from there, and I can't wait to see what this weirdo will mess around with next. I've made no secret how much I enjoy Mayuri's character, and it's the little moments that really sell him. Bringing up his old rival Urahara was a hilarious way to kind of force his hand and get him on board with whatever, because there's no way in the world that he's going to be upstaged by Urahara. It's also very Mayuri to be helpful in such a disrespectful way, completely disregarding Ichigo's feelings on the matter, because he now just sees him as a test subject, which is amazing. Ichigo's hesitant to leave at first because there is still the Yammy problem to deal with, but I'm like, no, Ichigo, just please, for my sake, leave. Just forget about Yammy, just like I want to, just leave. Please, just go. But I liked that Ichigo had to be reminded that his literal jurisdiction as a substitute Soul Reaper is Karakura Town. That's the place he's supposed to protect. He was never supposed to come to Hueco Mundo, and now his home is at risk. It should be his priority now more than ever, so he needs to get back there and save it. It's the kind of reminder that I love for a hero in this situation. He's gone out of his way to go far outside his comfort zone and his jurisdiction to do something selfless in a massive way, but now can be empowered to be a hero on his original turf, to be reminded what he was before a lot of this, at his core. I've compared him to Spider-Man before, but this is very much like your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man kind of thing. He's got to scale back and focus on his original mission, which at this point, Karakura Town is threatened by a massive threat, so it's an even bigger thing than what's happening in Hueco Mundo. Unohana volunteering to go with him is interesting because I get it. As a D&D player, I understand the need for a serious healer to be around, and given what's happened to some of the people on our side over here, we could really use a healer. There's been a lot of lost body parts. And it's on the way back that we learn just why Ichigo is so crucial for the coming battle. Ichigo hasn't seen Aizen Shikai, and is the only person on the battlefield that has it, at least the only one strong enough to maybe make a difference. That's a really natural way to make Ichigo's presence not only vital, but potentially the only way that we can stop the villain. Everyone else's senses have been compromised, but Ichigo has never seen Aizen's sword release. It's just a great way to make him essential for this whole thing, and to make him really the only hope we have, and it's surprising which people actually have hope in him. Mayuri staying behind in Hueco Mundo is so interesting that even Byakuya wonders why he didn't go. But I love that Mayuri stayed behind so he could hopefully examine the cadavers in the living world after all of this is over. He doesn't want to put himself in the middle of that now when he might be at risk of dying before getting a chance to study the casualties. It's so twisted, but such a Mayuri thing to do. But the real interesting thing is that Mayuri implies that he thinks the Soul Reapers will win the battle, and the only way to really do that is if Ichigo wins, so Byakuya points out that Mayuri might actually believe that Ichigo has a chance. Which is such a powerful moment because of who Mayuri is. He looks down on everyone, and just moments prior was acting like Ichigo was nothing more than a lab rat. But beneath all of his twisted scientific sadism, Mayuri is very, very smart. So if he believes Ichigo will win, even if he doesn't speak that aloud, it's a pretty big endorsement. And if Ichigo can get Mayuri and Byakuya to have a little faith in him, then he's doing a great job. And there are people in both dimensions that truly believe in Ichigo. Shinji has so much trust in him, and Aizen finds that ridiculous because he views trust as a hindrance, and that the ones that trust end up passing that trust along because they need to rely on others, even higher powers that they can have faith in. And as Aizen puts it, that is how gods are born. From everything we've learned about Aizen, he has aspirations to be something of a god himself, so the concept of trusting anyone, even his own allies, is beneath him. In the end, this whole section of the story really highlights how needed Ichigo is, and how crucial he is to the world now, and to us as readers. I have loved getting to spend so much time with other characters, and seeing what they can do or learning more about them. This battle in Karakura Town has made me love characters that didn't really get a chance to shine before, but getting some spotlight for a while has done wonders for them. It's been great, but through it all, my mind always comes back to Ichigo, waiting for him to inevitably arrive and fight like hell to save the day. I can't wait to see him get back to his home, to the place where all of this started, or at least an artificial replica of it, and figure out a way to overcome Aizen. A lot of these characters truly believe in Ichigo Kurosaki, and I believe in him too. But he's not here yet, and a feud between former friends is finally coming back to the forefront. So that's gonna require its own video. So I'll see you next time for that. As always, thanks so much for watching, everyone. If you'd like to support the channel a bit more, we do have a membership option now. Exciting things happening on the channel in the near future, so I'll see you all then. Take care. Bye.